Now, this should leave one final critical question. How do we deliver Cape independence? And if I've made my case for Cape independence clearly enough today, then I hope the answer is already clear. We must ensure that a referendum on Cape independence is held, which we are then almost certain to win. Many of the people in this room will be DA funders, many more DA voters. And whilst they're not perfect, the DA have done a good job of running the Western Cape, certainly incomparably better than the ANC. So what I say next is critically important to understand. The biggest obstacle to Cape independence is not the ANC and it's not the EFF. The biggest single obstacle to Cape independence is the DA. Unlike many other countries around the world, the Western Cape does not need South Africa's permission to call a referendum on Cape independence. Instead, the Constitution empowers the Western Cape Premier and only the Western Cape Premier to call one. The DA can deliver Cape independence, but it's choosing not to. Which brings us then to the business end of this speech. Cape independence is a practical and viable solution to the problems which confront us. And in truth, it's probably the only viable solution, but activists like me cannot deliver it alone. So in the final reckoning, it's you who is going to decide whether Cape independence succeeds or fails. Are you willing to leverage the donations and the votes which many of you are giving to the DA to force them to call a referendum on Cape independence? And if the DA aren't willing then to listen to you, just as they've ignored the 68% of Western Cape people who want a referendum to be held, then what are you going to do about it? I hope that the answer for many is that you're going to vote for the referendum party. We created the referendum party to offer voters a safe way to pressure the DA-led Western Cape government into calling a referendum on Cape independence whilst not removing them from power and risking the return of the ANC. And in our manifesto, the referendum party, we've promised that we'll vote with the DA to allow them to form a Western Cape government. And we've promised that we'll vote with the multi-party charter to do our part in removing the ANC from power nationally. Our sole purpose as a political party is to force the DA to call a referendum on Cape independence, which will establish an ideological homeland for people who think like we do. And in doing so, to allow us to determine our own destiny. And our message as a party is very, very simple. You can choose a first world future in an independent Western Cape, or you can choose to live in a failed South African state. And how you vote in 2024 will determine which one of these two very different realities becomes your future. Thank you.